which in daytime was a girls' school, but at night it was a typical night school, teaching everything from languages to mathematics to civics. And of course I took English, and I took a course in Spanish and algebra. When I signed up for algebra, the teacher asked everybody why they take algebra, and most of them took it to make up credit for college entrance. Well, of course, I never dreamed of college in those days, so I said I just want to find out what it is all about, and everybody thought that was funny and laughed. Well, I worked hard, I liked algebra, and I was the top student in that class. And when after a year, I made a Regents examination, and I got 98 out of a possible 100. So that was some accomplishment. Anyway, that 29 was very much like 28. Go to night school, go to work, and visit the museums, visit Coney Island, make friends here and there, and just all in all, dream about what I will do in the future. But 29 went by, everything went smooth. So much for that. Some memories of my stay in Brooklyn and New York. The YMCA, as I mentioned, was a YMCA for sailors. Whenever the fleet came in, every room was taken. The sailors would just come in drunk late at night, lie down on the hard floor in the lobby, and to get some sleep. It was a lively time. I was impressed with the rough life which these young fellows had to live. And then, of course, outside in the street, the Sand Street wasn't the best street anyway, but when the fleet was in, the outside of the YMCA, the street was crowded with girls, all kind of prostitutes from all over seemed to be coming down to Sand Street. Quite a sight. Once in a while things got rough, and I saw quite a few fights. Filipinos often involved, and they invariably had knives. Americans depended on their fists. I saw them coming in late at night. I would come home from night school around 11 o'clock, and that's about the time when some of the sailors started to reel in drunk. They would flop down in one of these heavy wooden chairs, and two janitors were just waiting for them. As soon as they fell to sleep, they would slide the chairs over the stone floor into a far corner, dump the sailor out, bring the chair back to the entrance, waiting for the next sailor. And by about 12 o'clock, there were probably 2-3 dozen sailors just lying there on the hard stone floor, sleeping off their, drunkenness. Well, while I was there, of course, I used the gym a lot, learned boxing, did a lot of swimming, and tried to physically get in reasonably good shape. I really enjoyed there. I mentioned that I met a Swedish fellow, Carlson, Olof, first name, and he and I would go to boxing, and really we thought the YMCA was just the best thing there could ever be for a young man. So 29 was a good year, quiet. I learned a lot about upholstery. I walked all over the city of New York and Brooklyn, got to know just about every museum, and I got to know a few girls, but they didn't interest me very much. Well, came 1930, and everything was still in a routine. Work. Very frequently I would walk across the Manhattan Bridge to save 5 cents, and well, it was probably 2-mile walk, not too much, but it did save me something like 10 cents a trip or 20 cents a day, which was quite a bit for me, because the breakfast cost me only about 35 cents, and meals in the evening, I found the cheapest place was one of these Clinton cafeterias, all you can eat for I think 35 cents. It wasn't the best food, but it was adequate. After all, I said healthy. And I finally got from my $15 a week up to $18 a week, and of course I saved every bit of that. I still went to school, never missed a day in school, kept up my grades. I took up Spanish, and of course English. That was the most important thing to take up. I took German just to have a little social life, and through the school I got admission to quite a few playhouses. I took advantage of that. So it was a very pleasant life. My friends then was my Swedish friend Olof, and several fellows in the YMCA who either went tennis playing with me, or I went fishing. I went aboard ship and even worked on aboard ship for a little bit, not very much, and especially during vacation, of course. So almost every Sunday I would see my sister Nellie, and with her we would again visit the museums, see a show. I really got to know New York by walking. Naturally, I didn't have a car, and it was a great life. Really enjoyed it. 1931. It started out same as 1930, routine work, but towards spring I got a little restless. I had saved up about $150, and I was dreaming of going west. So around June I quit my job. Of course I told them I'd just going on a vacation, took a leave of absence, so to speak, but I never had really in mind to come back. I bought a bus ticket to get started, and went to Chicago and looked around Chicago for a while. Then bus and hitchhiking went on to Ogden, Utah. And there I decided to take a trip up to Yellowstone. That's there, of course, I had to pay, no hitchhiking there. So I went up to West Yellowstone, walked into the office and told them that I want to go to the park and a park tour. Well, with my accent and being young and obviously very inexperienced, everybody was very helpful. They told me it will cost about, I think it was $45 for 4 or 5 days. Fine, I had the money, I paid. There were these big, open, yellow buses, and we started out. I met 2 school teachers from Ames, Iowa. I think, well, anyway, they really were nice girls, and I had a lot of fun with them in the hotel in West Yellowstone. Then we went to the park. While in the park, there was a lot of the elderly tourists, especially the women. They thought they had to take care of me, which wasn't too bad, because when we went to dinner, I always had company, and they would tell me the best way to get along. They had a lot of fun helping me along. Yellowstone was great in those days. Not too many people there. You could walk all over the geyser field at Old Faithful. There were no boardwalks or anything like that. There were signs at the edge to watch out, not to go too close to the hot springs, but you could walk all over and really see things and get away from people. Many years later I went back there again, and I never again found it as pleasant because more and more people started coming. But back in 1931, Yellowstone was a beautiful place. We went to Old Faithful, then we went to Lake and Canyon, and every place I took the full tour, sightseeing, did a lot of hiking, took some pictures, and I really did have a good time. Well, all good things have to come to an end. We left Yellowstone. I went back on the bus, paid fare to Salt Lake City. And in Salt Lake City, I asked in the bus station the best way of seeing the city. There again, because of my youth and inexperience, everybody tried to help me. One man said, well, it was an official, he said, there is a sightseeing bus in the afternoon, will cost probably $2 or $3, I don't remember. But he said, if you don't have the time, we will take you around on a taxi for the same fare right now, but only then, of course, you have only the taxi driver as a guide. So I decided to wait and look around and wait until the regular sightseeing bus would leave. And they told me where to go, and they were extremely cooperative. Apparently they hoped that I might become interested in the Mormon faith. Well, nothing doing, but I enjoyed sightseeing, and I greatly enjoyed the people. I still remember the lunch I had there. It was some sort of a German lunch, advertised as a German lunch. And it was sausage and cheese, and of course I was hungry. And I had a wonderful lunch there, and a glass of milk. At that time, Salt Lake City had something like open gutters with water running down the streets quite a bit. On almost every street corner they had a drinking fountain. Salt Lake City was known for the good water they had. And also in those days they mentioned that once a year in spring they would flood all the gutters with fresh water and stock it with fish for the boys to catch trout. Salt Lake City was always a beautiful city. It still is. In those days I liked it even better. I saw the tabernacle with the old wooden roof where they talked about not a single steel nail in the roof, only pegs. Since then, of course, the roof has been replaced with aluminum. Well, then my money was getting pretty low, and naturally I had to keep on going, so I went on to Los Angeles and went to the YMCA downtown on Hope Street, checked in. It was a little expensive, for my means, but anyway, I had to get started someplace, so I took a room in the YMCA. After I had paid, the desk clerk told me, quote, "Watch out, young kid. There are a lot of fairies in this building. Don't have anything to do with them." This was one of the early experiments with homosexuals. Somehow you can't miss getting to know about them when you are traveling in the YMCA or in Los Angeles on Pershing Square. But I left them alone if they left me alone, and only once did I get in a little tight spot where some of them tried to force his attention on me. He had persuaded me to go to his room. He was going to show me his stamp collection or something. And of course, being dumb, I went with him, and I no sooner was in there when he started to make advances. Well, it was a small apartment with a kitchenette, and he had a frying pan there. I got kind of scared. I used the frying pan and hit him really hard on the head. He fell down, and I didn't even check to see whether he was hurt. I just opened the door, walked out as quickly as possible, and went on back. That happened in New York, incidentally.